I think it's a way of very simply and succinctly telling a story in a very compelling way. The problem that we're trying to solve is that we have recently developed a new IT strategy which requires us to think in a different way and do things in a different way. And it's also looking to change the way in which we engage with our business colleagues as well. We're really using it as a means to develop concepts, articulate those to others, and getting people on the journey to a new IT strategy, essentially. SharpClouds help us make some quite complex models and thinking to simplify that and articulate it in a very easy to understand way. And in a different way to other media, including PowerPoint as well. SharpCloud's been really useful for us because it's been historically very hard to quantifiably state the return on any IT investment. We found it really, really difficult. So we've always been able to tie it to a business activity. This will help the business do X, Y, or Z, but we've never been able to say what return they're going to get on that spend. We find that SharpCloud's a lot more engaging, particularly on in a one-to-one context. We find it to be very dynamic, so you can move things around. That changes everything else, so you don't have to go away and then update other documents as a result of one change in something that you've done in SharpCloud. So it's very much linked to everything else, so once you change something, you don't have to suffer the repercussions of that. So if we were to make a change to one of our infrastructure items, those are all the things that it would impact, including stuff that goes on in the business as well. So when it comes to IT change, using this same model but deploying it for another purpose, it's really, really helped us. Similarly, if the business wants to do something, it's got a new objective, we can see what we need to change, what potential impact it has on technology, and where we need to focus our efforts in supporting the business achieve that aim. And it could be at the level of kind of business outcomes, or even at the level of business activity, so things that the business does that will generate an outcome of some kind. And as I said, it's a lot more engaging. I think visually, it's a lot more aesthetic. It's something different as well. People haven't seen this kind of thing before either. I think when you present someone with yet another PowerPoint as they see it, they can quite often be switched off before they've even started reading it. A number of our execs in Royal Mail Group are using iPads, sometimes on the move, and they don't always have access, for example, to things like SharePoint and documents that are hosted there, whereas they can get into SharpCloud pretty much instantly and on the move, which has been really, really useful. So we can engage people real time. As I said, it's dynamic, so we can make changes real time as well, without the need for sharing screens or anything else like that. The other thing it's helped us to do is think about things in a much more user-oriented way rather than being confined by previous protocol or how things have been structured or articulated in the past. It really has helped us think about positioning things in a very different way to how we might have previously, which has actually been more impactful at times. SharpCloud is much more, I think, visually oriented, whereas using other presentation tools like PowerPoint, for example, or even Word documents are very text heavy. And I think, as I said, pictures paint 1,000 words for most people, and we're finding that to really be the case. Whenever we engage someone using SharpCloud, a story in SharpCloud, typically it's made them think about lots of other things that could be of relevance. Whereas when they're previously faced with a document of some kind, it was kind of like all they were doing was making sure that they've understood the content of that document, but without actually bringing their own thoughts and ideas to the table. So we were playing around with views, and the one that we found worked for us, doesn't work for all, but worked for us was the 3D view with the timeline going all the way into the future. Because what that allowed us to do is when we move across time into the future, was actually blank out everything that's happening today. So it's a way in which we've been able to get people to stop thinking about today, the next 2 years, and really home in on the future. And it's opened their minds actually as well, which has been really, really useful. In a sentence, I would say really helps us to succinctly and visually put forward a point of view, be that a concept, a story, an idea, very quickly and in a very engaging way, and in a way that's collaborative as well, because others can plug into it and really gets people on the journey.